The oil playoff series is really heating up today with Amazon Basics competing with Penrite and Quaker State against Schaefer's. Now, all these brands already face some pretty stiff competition and demonstrated that they have earned their right to be in the Elite Eight, but which two brands will make it to the Final Four? We've got some really tough tests lined up for these oils today. We're going to really heat up the oil and we're going to really cool it down, as well as test some oil once it's been cooked. So let's get the testing underway and see which of these two brands will make it to the Final Four. Before we kick off testing, let's take a closer look at each oil's additive package. I sent new oil samples to an oil testing lab and the results are very interesting. As the name implies, anti-wear additives complement the base oil in preventing engine wear. Even though we're comparing Amazon to Penrite, I included several other common brands just as a point of reference. Penrite has quite a bit more anti-wear additives than Amazon. Schaefer's has more anti-wear additives than Quaker State, and as you can see, they both contain more anti-wear additives than Mobil 1 and Lucas, which are both pretty good oils. More isn't always better. Throughout the video, we'll take a closer look at other additives that are in these oils. In previous videos, we've seen just how good these motor oils are when they are new, but what about when they've been exposed to significant heat? We'll begin by adding 200 grams of oil into each oil container. Then we'll expose the oil to 375 to 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 3 hours, which is an extra hour of heat exposure compared to previous testing. This will place a lot of stress on the oil and simulate extreme duty engine use. Since there could be hot spots in the griddle, we're going to rotate the oil containers every 10 minutes during the entire 3-hour period. We're also going to keep an eye on the temperature of each oil to make sure they're all very close to the same temperature. So why this test? Well, this test isn't going to do the same thing as the NOAC volatility test, which actually exposes the oil to even more heat than this test. The purpose is to determine just how good these oils are at avoiding evaporation and thermal breakdown from the heat. Once the oil has been cooked for 3 hours, we'll have enough cooked oil for 2 additional tests. It's been right at 3 hours. I'm going to take the oil off the griddle, and when we come back, once the oil is cooled off, we'll see how much evaporative loss occurred with each brand. Amazon started off at 407 grams. It now weighs 404.12. That's a loss of 2.88 grams. Penrite started off at 423.27. It now weighs 420.56. That's a loss of 2.71 grams. So Penrite did slightly better than Amazon as far as evaporative loss. Quaker started off at 442.19. It now weighs 440.66. That's a loss of only 1.53 grams. Very impressive. Schaefer started off at 416.83 grams. It now weighs 413.73. That's a loss of 3.1 grams. So Schaefer's experienced about twice as much evaporative loss compared to Quaker State. Before we begin the next test, we'll need to place the oil in a freezer that's set to 40 below 0 Fahrenheit. While this temperature is extreme for most viewers, it will make it very easy to figure out if the heat has had an impact on cold oil viscosity. Since we'll be cooling the oil to minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit, we'll begin this test now and then come back to the test later in the video. A special thanks to my friend Dave for letting me borrow the freezer for this test. While the next test that we'll be conducting doesn't simulate engine operating conditions perfectly, the lubricity test will provide us with some terrific information on oil performance when it comes to film strength. Before we begin the test, I'm going to first calibrate the weight scales and then weigh each bearing. After the test, I'll measure the amount of scoring on each bearing and I'll be taking a weight measurement again. Costing only $19.99 for a 5-quart container, the Amazon Basics is the least expensive oil that we'll be testing. Can it possibly outperform its more expensive competition, the Penrite oil? The Amazon Basics Full Synthetic is a 5W30 oil which meets Generation 2 Dexos 1 certification and API SN Plus and ILSAC GF5 specifications. The Penrite Vantage is a full synthetic 5W30 motor oil that offers advanced protection including full zinc. This Australian brand of oil is family owned since 1926. All the other brands we'll be testing are API SN or SN Plus, but this one is API SL. Now that the lubricity test is complete, we'll weigh each bearing and then compare the wear scar on each bearing. Amazon is on the left and Penrite is on the right, and it was a very close race with Penrite edging out Amazon by a very small margin. Costing only $7.99 per quart, Quaker State claims to provide more power, ultimate durability, full synthetic, Generation 2 Dexos 1 approved. This oil meets or exceeds requirements for ILSAC GF5 and API SN+. Schaefer Supreme 9000 is a full synthetic SAE 5W30 engine oil designed for gasoline engines. It exceeds API service classification for SN. It's also ILSAC GF5 and GM Dexos 1 compliant. Now that the lubricity test is complete, we'll weigh each bearing and then compare the wear scar on each bearing. A very tight race between all the brands today, with Quaker State on the right and Schaefer's on the left. Schaefer's edged out Quaker State by a fraction of a millimeter. Very close race. Before we kick off the cold oil flow test, let's take a look at a couple more oil properties. Detergents and dispersants play a vital role in keeping an engine clean. Schaefer's has more detergents and dispersants than Quaker State. Penrite has more detergents and dispersants than Amazon, but they both have more than Mobil 1 and Lucas. Another important characteristic of oil is its total base number. As fuel is burned in an engine, oxidation occurs. Oxidation causes acids to form in the oil, which can cause damage. To neutralize acids, the oil needs a base. The concentration is expressed as the TBN, or total base number. Penrite has a slightly higher TBN than Amazon. Amazon is slightly lower than Mobil 1, but higher than Lucas. Schaefer's has a slightly higher TBN than Quaker State. Mobil 1 is slightly higher than Quaker State, but Quaker State is also slightly higher than Lucas. In the next test, we're going to assess the cold flow of each oil. This is a team sport. In order to win this event, both new and used oils must cross the finish line before the new and used oils of the opposing team. The objective is to achieve the fastest possible oil flow without loss or gain in viscosity, since viscosity gain or loss points to oil breakdown. New Amazon is in lane 1, cooked Amazon lane 2, cooked Penrite lane 3, new Penrite lane 4. The extremely cold temperature has taken its toll on both brands. The new Penrite is first to hit the oil slide as it is trying to shake off the chill. The cooked Penrite is in a close second to hit the ramp. Amazon Basics oil is trying to shake off the chill, hitting the ramp third. The new Amazon is definitely going to have its work cut out for it if it's going to take the lead away from Team Penrite. As the oils race down a straightaway, the new Penrite seems to be accelerating faster than the cooked Penrite and definitely faster than Team Amazon. The new Penrite just crossed the finish line, and Team Penrite takes the checkered flag as cooked Penrite crosses the finish line, beating the cooked Amazon by nearly 3 inches and new Amazon by 6 inches. Considering the incredibly cold temperature, this was a great race by both teams. It's been 2 hours since the last test, and the track has been cleared for the next showdown. The new Quaker State is in lane 1, cooked Quaker State lane 2, cooked Schaefer's lane 3, and new Schaefer's lane 4. The cooked Quaker State is first out of the gate, barely ahead of the new Schaefer's, cooked Schaefer's in third. If Team Quaker State is going to win this race, the new oil is going to have to pick it up a notch. The cooked Schaefer's is showing no sign of thermal breakdown from the heat as it's neck and neck with the new Schaefer's, while the cooked Quaker State seems to have lost viscosity just like the Amazon oil. Cooked Quaker State is first to cross the finish line, but Team Schaefer's is just too fast for the Quaker State team, crossing the finish line about a half inch ahead of the new Quaker State. Great race by both teams. Penrite won all 3 tests and will advance to the final 4, where it will face off against the winner of the Amsoil and Kendall showdown. While Quaker State won the evaporative loss test, Schaefer's won both the lubricity test and the cold oil flow test and will advance to compete against the winner of the Redline Pennzoil showdown. Most automakers as well as engine oil manufacturers recommend changing changing out the engine oil sooner if the vehicle has been used for extreme duty use, and I see why. 375 to 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 3 hours is pretty extreme, and it definitely put each brand to the test. In my opinion, they all did remarkably well. Now, this is a showdown series, so only the best oils, as far as how I'm testing them, get to advance. So Penrite as well as Schaefer's will advance. Regarding Quaker State, it did a terrific job at resisting evaporative loss. Now, Amazon seems to be a very good all-around engine oil, and it's what I personally use because it's a great price and a really good product. Now, 100% of my video ideas come from viewers. I read and reply to just about every comment. So if you have a video idea, I hope you'll take time to leave a comment. As usual, just want to say thanks so much for watching the video. Please take care, and I look forward to next time.